Sir Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin Group, says the time has come for the West to stop funding Vladimir Putin's war on Ukraine. He's written an open letter in which he says the future of a sovereign, self-determined Ukraine is inextricably linked to the future of liberal democracy itself. And given these high stakes, Western countries need to take the threat much more seriously and rapidly ramp up their support. Citizens must play their part too. Sir Richard's with me now from Mallorca. It's a very blunt, straightforward letter that you've written. It follows others that you've done. What I find interesting, Richard, is that you're coming up with practical solutions to what you say is the worst offence, which is the continuing purchase of Russian oil.
Yes, I mean, I think I know a lot of business people who feel exactly as I do, and they all feel that now is not the time for business people to sit back and not speak out. Now is the time, as Oleg Tinkov did earlier, to speak out and say what Russia's doing is unprovoked, it's unacceptable. And so I think what we as a business community are asking for is, first, the military aid is urgently needed, a lot more than is currently being given to Ukraine. And we just must get Ukrainians the weapons and the protective gear and everything that they need. And the second thing is that it is preposterous that Europe continues to send checks every day to Russia for oil, gas and coal. That must stop, and it must stop immediately. And so, you know, what we've said to ourselves is, if we were politicians running Germany, how would we stop it? And the kinds of answers we've come up with is, you know, for instance, if all IEA countries could just drop the speed limit by 10 miles an hour, that would be more barrels than Germany and other European countries import from Russia overnight saved, and therefore, you know, without any disadvantage, you know, Germany could just stop buying oil.
So obviously the idea of cutting the speed limit, turning down thermostats, switching down air conditioning, all these sort of things will have an incremental effect. But when the German Chancellor says, look, it will have a very bad effect on the German economy, and thereby the rest of Europe will suffer even more than it's suffering at the moment because of the war, do you not cut some slack to give them time to cut back by the end of the year?
Look, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, I've been 55 years in business. What I know is that if you could do what the IEA says and take 2.7 million barrels a day out of the oil market, what is going to happen is countries that are importing oil from Germany need not import it anymore because there'll be plenty of oil around. The price of oil will collapse. That will bring down inflation, and every single Western country will benefit. And you know, there are simple measures to answer what Russia's doing by the West, and it's not painful. I mean, like, you know, during COVID we couldn't drive a car at all. Asking us to drive a truck or a car at 10 miles an hour less speed is not a big ask. It's not going to affect our lives massively. And if you also then add on top of that, you know, to have every single business to look at themselves and see how they can cut back by 3 or 5%, you will see a collapse in the oil price, and that will benefit everybody.
You said as well, your fellow B team leaders stated now is not the time for neutrality. Now, today we have, for example, Wimbledon saying that Russian and Belarusian tennis players can't compete. There's a dispute. I mean, there is a controversy. Some say athletes should be allowed to not visit the sins of the country on the individuals and vice versa. So there's an argument and a debate going on. But when I read your letter, it's sort of fairly clear. Now is the time to take stands.
Yeah, look, I'm friends with some of those players who are going to be stopped from playing at Wimbledon. But I'm also friends of doctors, nurses, receptionists who are picking up guns in Ukraine and having to fight for their country. And you know that is far bigger cross to bear than a tennis player being told that they can't play at Wimbledon. And so I think we've got to be black and white on this. By the way, Oleg Tinkov, I just heard what the statement he's put out. I know him personally. By the way, he's not an oligarch. He was a self-made Russian who built a really successful bank in Russia, and it's very incredibly brave. The statement that he's put out tonight, and there are a lot of other Russian business people that I know who feel equally strongly that that this war must stop and that Putin must stop what he's embarked upon.